Jip. Babe. Hello. Say hello. She is my favoriteest thing in this room. And that's including all the books. She's licking my hand. I love cats. Okay, hello my friends. My name is Steph and today it is the 30th of October. So I'm just gonna get ahead of the filming, not really. And I'm going to film my October wrap up, which you would have seen, I think, all of these books in my Spooktober TBR. We did good, guys. We did good. The only book I didn't get to from my Spooktober TBR was a book by Ruth Ware. I wanted to read The Lion Game, but basically as soon as October started, I just decided it wasn't the vibe I was going for. So I took it off my TBR pretty early in the month. And now I'm going to talk about all the books I did end up reading. I'm going to start with my least favorite, work my way up to my most favorite. And I think, like, I'm surprised by the results. So first book, least favorite, is Choke by Chuck Palahniuk. I don't know how this happened, but this book didn't have a plot. It was just snippets of this sex addict's life. The plot that I thought it was about a guy pretending to choke at restaurants so people feel sorry for him and give him money and stuff, that was such a non-relevant part of the story, and it was too bizarre. It was too surreal. If you like surreal stories that make you completely just abandon all sense of reality, you might enjoy this, but for me it was just lots of talking about sex, lots of talking about religion and God, and I just didn't vibe with it. So I am actually unhauling Choke. Like, this is going bye-bye back to the store I bought it from, because it was a secondhand store. I gave it 1 star. Moving swiftly along, we have got It Will End Like This by Kyra Lee. This was another one that I had such high hopes for. Didn't I, Jip Jip? She wants me to pat her and she's like, pay attention to me, mum. I had such high hopes for this. This was the YA retelling of Lizzie Borden. It fell so flat. I think I got up to page 100, 150, and I was so tempted to DNF it, but I thought, Steph, just stick through. Like, it's a short book. It's YA. It was really short. It was fast. If I was invested, it would have been a quick read. This was not a vibe. There is, if you know the Lizzie Borden murders, it's a YA retelling of that, a modern retelling of that. But the entire book, these two sisters are asking themselves, like, did dad and his new girlfriend kill mum so they could get together, live in her house, take all her money? There's also this weird, like, not like other girls girl that tries to become their friend and claims that she has some connection to their mum. Like, overall, it was just a really strange book. So this one is also getting DNF'd. I think I gave it 2 stars because at least it had a plot. Like, Choke did not have a plot. This had a plot. It just wasn't my vibe. It wasn't scary. There was nothing. Even the actual murder itself, which happens in the book, it doesn't really happen in the book. It's like, oh, there's blood everywhere. How did that happen? Don't care. Next, another one I was so excited for. It is Tastes Like Candy. This book is about a bunch of girls. I think they're about to start college. Yeah, so they're in senior year. They go on a scavenger hunt each year, or certain girls are picked to go on a scavenger hunt. This year they're having it at an amusement park, a carnival, and these girls start getting killed off one by one. And it was a strange story. I feel like even teenagers that are a little bit high would have more of a reaction to being slaughtered one by one. There was a whole scene where some of the girls come together and finally realize, like, oh, we are all being killed off. And the reactions were just bizarre. They were just strange reactions to the fact that people are literally getting murdered. And there was like a twist at the end, which I didn't see coming, but I also didn't care because I was so not invested. So this is the last one that is actually getting unhauled. This is getting donated to somewhere because I don't need it in my life. I'm never going to pick it up again. It was, look, I think I gave it a 2.5 star. It was the most average slasher I've ever read. And like with slashers, if I'm bored reading a slasher, there's a problem. Okay, now we're slowly getting to books that I didn't enjoy but I'm not ready to let go of yet. We have got Hide by Kirsten White. This book follows a bunch of, I think it's 12 people, 14 people. They are all picked to play basically a big game of hide and seek. If they make it through the week, they get, what's the amount? Some large amount of prize money. And a bunch of people join, 14 people join. You find out that things are not what they seem. People are getting found a lot quicker than people thought they would be getting found. And again, this book, similar to Tastes Like Candy, yeah? Hide in an amusement park or do something in an amusement park and see what happens. This book was such an interesting premise, and some of the characters were really interesting. I think it might have been the writing in this one. The writing style was just so... It was non-suspenseful. Like, there was no suspense. There was never any tension. It was just like, these characters are going through their day and shit things are happening, and that's fine because they're just going to deal with it. Again, the plot in this, I actually liked the plot. This actually was interesting enough at the end. But getting there. And the descriptions, like, this book could have been so descriptive with, like, the things that are going on in this amusement park, and it just didn't take it there. So I think I gave it a 3. Like, some of it I really enjoyed. There were, like, a lot of letters and journal entries in this that I loved. I was so enamored by, but I don't know if I would ever read it again. So for now, I'm keeping it, but I don't think it's going to be in my life very long. As soon as I start running out of room on my pretty bookshelf behind me, like, that's going to be the first one to go. Okay. Next one is a strange book because I really enjoyed my reading experience. It was just way too predictable. That is Murder in the Family. I have already talked about it on this channel when I first read this book. So without giving anything away, I guessed the plot twists way too early in this book. Not all of the plot twists. The big plot twist, the climax plot twist, I guessed it just too early. And it's such a shame because this book, it's told in transcripts from a true crime TV show. Basically 6 experts come together to solve a 20-year-old murder case. And I liked the experts. I liked the format of this book. I was invested. It was such a fast read. But I did the thing where I just, in my head, was like, oh, how funny would it be if this was the plot twist? And that was the plot twist. And I just don't know how highly I can rate a thriller that's predictable. So I think I gave it like a 3.5 star. This I'm probably going to keep, if only for the fact to like lend it to people because it was such a fun experience. I just wish I hadn't have read into it too much. I wish sometimes when I'm reading a thriller, I can turn off my thinking. I can turn off my suspicious mind. I can turn off the like need to solve the mystery. This time I didn't. This time I was so focused because like the tagline is, can you solve the case before they do, before the experts do? So I tried to, and I did. So keeping it probably like a 3.5 star. In the same sort of exact same rating, a 3.5, we have Not Your Ex's Hexes by April Asher. This was a supernatural romance between a half demon and a witch. It was a friends with benefits situation. We all know what happens in books where it's a friends with benefits situation. So I guess it was pretty predictable in that sense. I did forget that there is a bit of smut in these books. This is the second book in the series. But it's only a 3.5 because I actually prefer my romances to be romances. That sounded sassier than it meant to. I like a romance where the actual romance, the relationship between the main characters, takes up like 75% of the plot, and then the other 25% can be like career, family, personal life, past, whatever. But like, I want the relationship to be the primary focus in the book. And what I've noticed with these books is that they're called the supernatural singles books, is that it's so much more focused on family and friends and career than just the romance. And it just, sometimes I'm like, okay, we're going off on a nice little tangent about what we're doing in the future, what we're doing with the rest of our lives. Can we bring it back to the romance? So 3.5, it was still a fun time, but not a new favorite, unfortunately. Then we have got a book I thought would be rated higher, but it's kind of in a similar vein to The Secret History, where like The Secret History, it was a 5-star book, which didn't deserve to be. This is the kind of reverse. This was a 3.5-star book that I feel like deserved more, but I just couldn't give it more. It is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. The writing style in this, perfection. I loved the setting. I loved most of the characters. It was just such a nice book. And that's what it was. It was nice. I feel like for a lot of people it's a 5-star book. I can understand why it is. For me, it just, some of the pacing was a bit slow. Sometimes I just kind of stopped paying attention. Sometimes I would put it down and then like not really want to pick it back up. So I gave it a 3.5 star, but like it isn't a bad book. I think this is actually a really good book. This is one of those ratings where I can't explain it. I can't verbalize why it's only a 3.5 star, but I know in my soul that that's the right rating for it. Basically, this is exactly what it sounds like. We have got a group of Southern women who have a book club where they usually read true crime books. A new guy moves to town, and our main character, Patty, straight away is like, well, almost straight away, is like, there's something wrong with this guy. And everyone's like, he's lovely, he's so nice, he's a great addition to the community. And Patty goes, something's wrong with this man. And people ignore her and people make her think that she's crazy. It's very that trope, like when the woman in a horror movie notices something's wrong and everyone tells her it's in her head, she's overthinking. It was that vibe the entire way through. But I loved the characters. I liked the plot. I loved everything that happened. I just don't know how it could be more than a 3.5 star. It makes no sense. But like, I would highly recommend this. It wasn't for me, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Slowly getting high through the ranks. Next we have got Clown in a Cornfield 2, Friendo Lives. This is the sequel to Clown in a Cornfield. And this was like a solid 3.75 star. This wasn't as good as the first book, mainly because it was just like the first book, but all over again. So our 3 survivors from the first book, like leave the town and go off to do things in their own life. And oh, lol jokes, there's a crazy outbreak of clowns again. And it's basically the first book over again, but less exciting because we've already read the first book. It was still a good time. It was a fast-paced book. I read it so quickly. It was still enjoyable, but it was nothing new. It was basically the first book over again, except I cared less. So take that review with a grain of salt. You might really love it. I loved the first book. I think the first book was a 4.5. This just was like a not great sequel. It was honestly like a movie sequel. Like, we can all agree that Scream 2 is not as good as Scream, and Saw 2 is not as good as Saw. You know what I'm saying? It was that vibe. I'm gonna have some coffee. I'll be back. With this next book, we are moving moving swiftly into the 4 stars, like the solid 4 stars. This book took me by surprise. I didn't think I would enjoy this book based on just like the title and the cover. Like, I was like, ooh, a bit cheesy, but it is the perfect kind of cheese, and it is Camp Slaughter. This book follows a group of friends deciding to rent out this cabin in the Pennsylvanian woods, a place that some of the locals think is kind of suspicious because a lot of people that stay in that particular cabin end up going missing. It's crazy. So these friends all go to this cabin, and there is this a lovely little man who's clearly very, I'm very tired. I've just come home from work, so pardon me. This lovely little man who is very mentally ill, basically hunts them down and slaughters them. And all I'm going to say is there is a sequel, and I think I'm going to purchase the sequel because this was just fun times. It was one of those, like, these characters, these teenagers are so stupid, or these young adults. It was one of those, like, different from Clown in a Cornfield, where it was like, I've already seen this. This was fresh, and this was just me being like, these people are so stupid. Why are these people doing this? Like, but it was a fun time. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Next we have the only other romance I read this month, and it is What the Hex by Jessica Clare. This is a sequel to Go Hex Yourself. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This follows Penny, who is longing to be the familiar of a witch or a warlock, and this is the warlock who is not allowed to have a familiar, but they strike up a deal where they're like under the table going to work together. So she's going to be his familiar and he's going to have a familiar even though he's banned from having one. Sorry, the light is changing because it's getting dark outside. And it was very Grumpy Sunshine, and it was everything. This book was so good. Like, in my head, this was going to be on the same wavelength as Know Your Ex's Hexes. I'm sorry, but this is leagues above. Like, I thoroughly loved this couple. I loved, oh, when he started falling for her and he started softening up, and she'd be like, oh, like, why do you care so much if I'm okay? And it was like, because he likes you, because you're breaking down his barriers. It was so many good vibes. I loved 4-star, maybe 4.25. This was a damn good romance. Next, we have a book that I don't want to say too much about. It is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I went into this book not knowing a single thing except that the title, I thought that would be the plot. Like, it's about a woman who watches a house across the lake. I was kind of right, but I was also very wrong. It is getting so dark in my room. It doesn't look it on camera. Maybe it does. It's getting very dark outside. I need to hurry this up. I can barely see what's in front of me. This book, I would say, don't read anything before you go into it. Don't look up the plot. Don't look up anything on Goodreads. Just get into it. If you like Riley Sager, just jump into it. It gave me vibes of not so many, but it gave me vibes of other books that I really, really enjoyed. But if I tell you what those books are, it's going to give away what was unexpected about this. But it is definitely about a woman, an unreliable narrator who's made friends with a woman who lives across the lake with her husband. But she thinks there's something sus with the husband. So she obviously sticks her nose in where it shouldn't be. Look how bad the camera quality is getting because of the light. Oh, we need to hurry it up. I'm so sorry. Okay, 2 more books. Next we have got The Lost Village. This book I did not expect to enjoy at all, because I don't really, a lot of books I read that are translated, just something gets lost in translation. This, however, was such a good book. We follow a group of filmmakers who go to a village where basically the entire population one day just disappeared, except for one single baby left in a classroom. So this group of filmmakers goes to check out this town, see what actually happened. Like, where did all these people go? The entire village went missing. And I liked the writing style, I liked the plot, I liked the characters, I liked the twist. It was very good vibes. It honestly was a perfect mix of Midsummer and The Blair Witch Project, which this book pitched it as, and I think it did a really good job. Like, that is a perfect comparison for this book. And last but not least, I am nothing if not a basic bitch with basic bitch reading tastes. So when I read Ward D by Freida McFadden, I loved it and I gave it 5 stars. We follow our main character, Amy. She is a medical student and they kind of all go through different rotations. Like, they go through different wards in the hospital. And Amy has been rostered on to spend an overnight shift in Ward D, which is the psych ward. Something fun to note is that her ex-best friend, like her best friend from childhood that she's had a massive falling out with, is a patient in Ward D. There is no reception in Ward D, and she's there for the entire night. It was so good. I loved this book. I saw a lot of reviews saying this book was like really weak. I enjoyed it, man. I said I'm a basic girl with basic tastes, and out of all the authors and all the books I read this month, of course Freida McFadden is my single 5-star, my favorite 5-star. I mean, The Lost Village, honestly, it's probably a 5-star as well, or a 4.75. It was really good, but this is the only book where I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. 5 stars. Highly recommend. If you like Freida McFadden, read it. If you've never read Freida McFadden, read it. And if you don't like Freida McFadden, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you are definitely on the wrong channel, because we stand her in this house. Me and my mum have both read Freida's books. Not all of them, but some of them. We both love her. My book bestie later has also read, I think she read The Housemaid. I don't remember if she's read The Housemaid's Secret, but she liked The Housemaid a lot. So we love Freida in this house. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm losing my voice and my energy levels are so down because I just got back from work and I'm very, very tired and I need a nap with this beautiful, beautiful beast that is sitting on my bed. Hello. Say bye-bye. So I'm going to, oh, why does it look so much lighter now? That is strange. So anyway, I'm going to put all these books back on my shelves. Well, the ones that I'm keeping. And then I'm going to cuddle up with my kitten and we're going to have a little nappy nap. I also want to film a book haul at some point because I've got some very special editions on my shelves that I have never shown you guys and I'm so excited to own them. But that's going to have to wait for another day because right now I have got a big old headache and I've got an adorable cat waiting for some cuddles. But thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, congratulations, you would be the only person on this planet that did. And stick around for a book haul, maybe this weekend. And enjoy Halloween if you celebrate Halloween in your country. If you don't, like we don't in Australia, we barely celebrate Halloween. Oh baby, she's got her little paws out. She loves her mummy. I hope October was a good month for you. Oh my god, I didn't even update you guys about how bad this month was for me. We're not gonna get into it. Basically, long story short, one of my cats died and I had the flu. Shit month, okay? Like, I'm surprised I managed to read as many books as I did because this month absolutely sucked the life out of me. If anyone's wondering, yes, I'm still slowly getting over the flu. Like, my nostrils and my throat are a little bit janky. Yes, I am okay about the kitty. He was a very old boy, but he was a very beautiful boy. We all loved him because he was just the sweetest little thing. It was very unexpected, but we knew he was sick. We just didn't think it would happen that suddenly. So I'm sure he's happier where he is now. But it sucked. It did. So yeah, October was not a good month. Like, here's to hoping that November is a better month. Because I just don't know if I can do another shitty month. I really don't. This month nearly destroyed my spirit. That's fine. That's fine. Everyone has bad months. Animals die. People get sick. People have crappy jobs that they don't want to go to. It's fine. I will see you guys for a book haul in a couple of days, and enjoy your Halloween if you celebrate it. Cool? Okay, bye.